Hey yo, welcome back. So, it's time for some more SCP Wiki. Um, yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it. So, as per usual, if you're easily frightened or have a sensitive heart or you just don't like scary content, you might want to tune out of this one. And, yeah, we play music in the background and I read SCP Wiki entries. That's about it. So, let's jump back into this. Alright, so I want to go ahead and review. What did we read last time? I saw one for a second there. Time Crowave. It is such a silly name, but I fucking love it. Just put it into my Time Crowave. So yeah, we started at 111, Dragon Snails TM. That was actually probably horrible. I should never read Dr. Wondertainment entries like that ever again, because that entire voice just destroyed me. So Dragon Snails, the variable coaster, the gender switcher, bringer of conflict, miniature dump truck. That just sounds silly. The brittle boy, complete multi-tool, nuclear protists, time crowave, and the teleporting paddling pool. Just call it a kiddie pool, because that's what it is. Alright, well, we're gonna move on to 121 and read up to 130. Wait. No, wait. Yeah. Okay. I got really confused for a second. I was like, wait, did I read these already? There's no fucking way. So yeah, I usually like to start with a random one. We could do the random at the end, but I just always want to do a random one at least once per part, or episode, or whatever you want to call this. I've been enjoying reading it right away, because it seems like I get way too tired if I read the random one last, and I'm like, fuck. All my creative senses are gone. So yeah, let's check out 878. That was the one we randomized to. And again, if this is your first time stopping by, I scroll the page just so you know there's not any jump scares, or you can see a quick preview, or if you want to pause in a certain spot. I don't know, maybe you don't want to hear me talking. Alright. No image. Let's get into it. This was kind of short. What the fuck? What happened here? Did the time wave de-increment? Oh, you know what it is? I resized my window recently, that's right. Just like, do this, I guess. I tried not to push it too far past the border because we do get footnotes at the edges of some of the paragraphs, so I either have to zoom out most of the time, or it'll get partially cut off in this little area. So, I don't know. I try not to move it too close. It probably looks off-center a little bit, but who cares? I'm reading you a book, basically. Deal with it. Alright, children, gather round. Alright, item number 878, Object Class Euclid. Special containment procedures. Efforts to physically contain either 878-1 or 878-2 have as yet been unsuccessful. It appears by all evidence that 878-1 has no special abilities separate from 878-2, though 878-2 has shown a primitive sort of willingness to protect 878-1. Their primary effect can be completely abated by disrupting distribution and broadcast of any media containing 878. Is this a weeping angel? Foundation personnel will monitor television, film, or any other media containing 878 for purposes of suppression. Why is this such a common trope? I mean, this is like sub 1000, but we have seen this quite a lot. Things, informational hazards that transcend types of media. This has successfully prevented 878's effect in 78% of containment attempts since discovery of 878. Barring this, iterations of 878-3 can be contained and prevented from harming others. This raises containment effectiveness to 95%. I said harming others. It sounded weird. Description: 878 is an actor, alias blank blank, parentheses SCP-878-1, and a prop knife closely resembling a 6th century iron dagger from the blank dynasty period in Triple blank, classified as 878-2. 878-1 has never had a permanent role in any television show, nor a role of any real importance in any film. Is this gonna be another one of those where he takes the place of an actor in every single movie? We've already done this. I want to say it was Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman in every movie, SCP, but it wasn't Dennis Rodman. I don't know why I think of him. 878-1 appears approximately once every single blank months on the set of various television shows, films, or theatrical performances during production. The crew forgets 878-1 was ever absent, and alters the script to include him. After 878-1's appearance at some point throughout the course of the plot, the character played by 878-1 will find itself in a situation that brings it into conflict with a more important character. The conflict will develop into blows, which always end similarly. 878-1 will beat his opponent mercilessly, far beyond both what is necessary to disable the character and beyond the level of brutality typically expected from the film or show in question. This dude's just like a fucking murder hobo stuck in the TV. Once the other character stands for the last time, 878-1 will strike the other character with the back of his left hand, leaving them sprawled on a desk or some other elevated surface. Remove 878-2 from an unknown location, then plunge the knife fully into the other character's heart. 878-1 will turn towards the camera. At the moment his eyes meet the camera, the show will go to a commercial or the film will change scenes. Is it like for comedic effect? Why does he do it so often? Is it his modus operandi? Alternatively, during theatrical performances, 878-1 will simply disappear, with no audience member able to recall where the character went. 878-1 will not be seen again, and no explanation will be given for his absence. From this point on, the actor who was killed may be identified as 878-3. After the event, 878-3 will begin to display behavioral abnormalities uncharacteristic of their previous personality. This will begin with minor sex scandals and drug addictions, degenerating within a matter of weeks into paranoia and homicidal tendencies. If 878 is observed at work, 878-3 can be contained by Foundation personnel. Though the symptoms will never abate, and the actor will typically find a way to kill either the others or themselves. Since most instances of 878-3 simply disappear from the public eye, a fate not uncommon for Jesus, I can't fucking read. Since most instances of 878-3 simply disappear from the public eye, a fate not uncommon for less well-known actors, the correlation between 878-1 and his effects has gone unnoticed by the general public, and a stress-related cover story is given to the actors' families. They just disappear from the public eye? They couldn't handle the stress? Sounds like current politics. To the extent that they are a single entity, 878's motives are unknown. No records of 878-1 appearing in any media without 878-2 exist, and his real identity is unknown. Proposals for controlled use of 878 as a means of containing broadcast-based anomalies, such as 1241, are currently under review. So the dude that comes in and smacks one person and then stabs the other in the heart, we're gonna get, like, I don't know, scary static TV box SCP contained with it or something. Like, what is this? No thanks. I scrolled it so you can read it. That's as far as I'm going with this one. It's just... it's weird enough, but I don't care to read any more about it. Contagion, Euclid, humanoid performance, uncontained weapon. Still, to this day, they've never caught the rogue actor. Alright. Wait, I didn't mean to go forward on that. Wrong one. Yeah, let's just read 879. We're in the near thousands now. Tricked ya. Alright. 121. Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. Containment Site-83 has been established outside 121 to house personnel dedicated to the containment of 121. The perimeter of 121 is to remain fenced off from the surrounding area, with guards stationed along the perimeter at all times. Guards are to don local military uniforms and remain heavily armed at all times. Rotation of guards is to occur every 4 hours. The surrounding population is to remain informed that 121 is quarantined due to persisting hazardous material. Warning signs are to be placed 75 (75), 50 (50), and 25 (25) kilometers out along roads leading to 121 to deter trespassers. Civilians who approach the perimeter of 121 are to be reminded of the quarantine and forced to depart. Those who resist are to be detained for questioning. In the event that approaching civilians witness an active instance of 121-1 or 2, Class A amnestics are to be administered. Any meteorological data regarding 121's anomalous effect is to be censored, and 121 has been labeled a no-flight zone to prevent knowledge of 121, 1, and 2. Site Task Force IOTA-71 Homewreckers has been established and permanently assigned to Containment Site 83 in response to the threat of 121-2. They are to escort researchers interested in studying non-hostile instances of 121-2, as well as neutralize any instances that have grown to potentially lethal sizes. In the event of an attempted containment breach, IOTA-71 is to assist perimeter guards in the neutralization of the instance of 121-2. Any buildings within 121 that develop into 121-2 are to be recorded and monitored at all times for transition into 121-2. What is this, like a TARDIS seed? Instances of 121-2 that become innately hostile upon transition are to be neutralized. However, passive instances may continue to dwell within the perimeter of 121 for research purposes until they've grown to a size too dangerous to contain or become hostile, at which point they are to be neutralized. 121 Description: 121 is the region of land occupied by the former town of Blank, Colorado. The town was home to roughly 6,800 prior to the enactment of current containment protocol, and holds roughly 3,000 buildings, both residential and commercial. Clouds above 121 appear incapable of entering an area roughly 12 kilometers in diameter, instead passing around the area. It is speculated this is related to 121's range of effect, but it is not known how at this time. Buildings in 121 will sporadically detach from any foundations and ascend into the air. At this point, these buildings are identified as 121-1. Footnote 1. No more than one at a time, with 3 weeks minimum between manifestation. The floatin' buildings. Sounds like something I'd build in Minecraft. Instances of 121-1 ascend to a random height of a minimum of 45 meters. Regardless of the previous state of the building, doors and windows become locked, and any potential entryways become barricaded by furniture inside. Forced entry has shown an increased ambient temperature of roughly 35 degrees Celsius and a relative humidity of roughly 65%, but a lack of any further anomalous properties. Instances of 121-1 will cease suspension after a minimum period of 10 weeks, but may remain airborne for no more than 15 weeks afterwards. Instances do not show any abnormal levels of durability, and near total destruction of 121 upon impact with the ground is common. After impact, the remains of instances of 121-1 will contain an ovoid object approximately 1.2 meters by 1.2 meters. The remains of instances of 121-1 will contain an ovoid object approximately 1.2 meters by 1.2 meters by 2 meters, composed of materials consistent with furniture found inside the home. Ovoid sphere of furniture composition? Footnote 2. Examination of mostly intact instances of 121-1 show an absence of previous furnishings. So it does harvest objects. The object will begin to locomote on its own accord. At this point, it will be referred to as 121-2. So it's like a floating building seed object. What? 121-2 will 121-2 begin to form a conglomerate with nearby materials, including debris from 121-1, flora, automobiles, and, on rare occasion, other buildings. 121-2 will continue to attract objects until it forms a body of material 9 meters in height, at which point the body will animate and appear to take on levels of sentience. Sentient building. Sentient floating building. 121-2 may, at this point, begin to simulate ingesting other material, to continue growing at a considerably slower rate. Ingestion appears to be for the sole purpose of continued growth, as instances have gone prolonged periods of time without material. Certain items have been known to attach to 121-2 instantaneously, despite size and the lack of simulated ingestion. What the fuck is this? An alien? Like alien building? Instances of 121-2 normally resemble animals capable of locomotion on land, but have been known to take on humanoid forms and forms that do not resemble any known animal. They are primarily docile, and normally do not display hostility towards personnel unless provoked. And normally do not display hostility towards personnel unless provoked. However, 121-2 instances have been known to form with innate aggressive and territorial behavior. This behavior has also been observed to develop following the accumulation of certain items, including firearms, bladed weapons, and, in one example, the taxidermy head of a bear. 121 came to the attention of the Foundation when local authorities were flooded with reports of a previously abandoned residence suddenly flying in the sky. The town was evacuated under the guise of a hazardous material spill, and the residence was observed. Once the instance of 121-1 transitioned into 121-2, 121-2 was quickly neutralized. What, you fucking smash the egg with your foot? LOL? Following the neutralization, another instance of 121-1 developed, and the town was permanently evacuated and contained. Bro, I feel like this is just a dank weed joke. Lol, the buildings are high, bro. Footnote 3. This is the only occasion on which the creation of 121-1 has so closely followed the creation of an instance of 121-2. Huh. Maybe that's the instantaneous teleportation? Like if you smash an egg, just one grows anyway. Incident 121A on 1104 and... is that... okay, I thought that was a B. Weird, like, pixel malforming makes it look like a B right now. Incident 121A on 1104 and 98. A sound described as a muffled siren was heard for approximately 5 minutes. An active instance of 121-1 was suddenly subject to an immense force following the sound, causing the building to prematurely break apart while suspended before the 10-week minimum. Neighboring towns reported hearing the sound. Local press were informed quarantine staff were being evacuated due to a temporary elevation in toxic levels. The cause of the sound is currently unknown. Further research is recommended. 3 weeks following the sound and the destruction of 121-1, the remains finally fell to the ground. Inside the rubble were remnants of the ovoid object found in 121-2, along with traces of aluminum slag. Incident 121B. On 050912, a 1991 Dodge Caravan was found suspended 53 meters in the air. Internal surveillance is at this time impossible due to the windows being obscured by what appears to be wool cloth. Further observation of the vehicle is recommended. Just some dude like camping out in this truck and it gets possessed by whatever radius-based floating building power is. He's just stuck. Fuck, I never should have moved into my car. Airborne, city, Euclid, metamorphic, meteorological, sentient. Well, meteorological reference. That part was redacted. What, do I not have high enough O5 clearance in lore? Alright, here's 122. This one is very prototypical. This looks like strange things you'd see in the dark or whatever. The caption for the bleh. My tongue keeps doing this weird fucking thing. I need a drink. I hope you guys are enjoying so far tonight. Okay. The caption for the image says, Instance of SCP-122-1. The name of the image is 122-new.jpg. And again, if you're new to this, I try to describe the image as well, just in case we have, like, blind viewers. Like, literally, can't see people. People that cannot see things. I hope you guys, shout out to you, I hope you guys enjoy this. And, yeah, I try and describe what's in the image. Just because, you know, people that are blind can't see this. So, yeah, the image for 122. It appears to be maybe a sanitarium room. I say that because it is very stark. It looks like the room was made in like the 1930s. It's got that very sturdy plaster wall look to it, with like a nice little black trim at the bottom. And then what appear to be padded floor. Either that or it's tile, which in a sanitarium you could probably expect either. At the top of the wall is also like a lighter trim, but really you can't see much. You can discern the two corners, but honestly the right hand corner is just the trim leading into the ceiling, and the left corner, it just looks like a blank wall. In the foreground we can see what looks like a sanitarium bed. It genuinely looks like a medical bed or a very early 1900s bed. It has extremely large brackets or braces at the head of the bed and at the foot of the bed. Just looks like iron bars. Yeah, it's somewhat of an ornate iron bar design for the head and foot of the bed, which, you know, it helps someone stay in the bed and also probably holds the mattress looking at this. They're quite tall. They're much taller than where you would be placing your head. It's like unsettling how tall these iron bars are for supporting this bed. Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat of an ornate design. We have 5 minuscule poles and then 2 large poles for the outer edges. At each junction point of the vertical poles, there is a sphere and a horizontal pole running through them. At the middle vertical pole, there is a second sphere attached to the top of it, and just a bowed U-shape, vaguely iron bar as well. I mean, just to fit that design of the headboard, as well as the footboard, or whatever you want to call it. It's the same, identical on both sides. And at the top, at the heads of each of the larger iron bars, at the 4 corners of the bed's, you know, braces or whatever, are what appear to be even larger spheres, if not like some screw cap for this assembly. And we can discern in the bottom left corner of this bed's footboard, I guess you could say, there is what appears to be a screw missing. Whatever this spherical object is on this bed's assembly, it looks like one is missing. But yeah, at the bottom of the foot of the bed, it just appears to be a solid metal bracket. Again, for probably just holding on to the mattress. And then the, you know, comfy bed itself appears to be what looks like a prison pillow, or again, like a sanitarium pillow. Very thin, very long. Also what appears to be a very, very tiny, weird headrest. It looks like a fucking baguette. Are you seeing this? It looks like 2 pillows, I think. So a larger, longer pillow, and then a neck pillow. Or maybe a fucking rolling pin. I don't know. But yeah, both quote-unquote pillows are white. And the bed covering is a black to gray to white stripe. Vertical stripe. very thick bars. I mean, the entire image is black and white, but it sort of stands out to me. So yeah, the floor sort of descends into darkness the deeper the room we get. It might just be an effect of the camera, might be anomalous. And the bed is casting a shadow. There appears to be like a little area in the back left where you could probably squeeze into the corner between the bed and the wall. And yeah, the main subject, which is on the right side, appears to be a gigantic shadowy figure with white eyes. The figure is quite smoky and either fits in with the shadows with its anomalous property, or is just some aberration of the lens, or just some anomalous figure. Alright, so that's the image for 122. Item number 122, object class key there. Special containment procedures. 122 is to be stored in a standard containment chamber containing a single electrical outlet. No personnel dormitories are to be constructed within 500 meters of the containment area. At no time should 122 enter an unpowered state. Several redundant power systems are to be maintained and inspected regularly. In the event of 122-1 manifestation, 35 members of site personnel assigned to enact containment are to be deployed outside the containment chamber. If it becomes hostile, Procedure 99 Renmar is to be enacted. Due to the potentially disastrous side effects in the event of cross-contamination, at no point are 122 and instances of 3060 to be stored at the same facility. 3060, huh? Nice, I just got the new 3060 Ti. Me sitting here with my 1080 Ti, I cry every time. Oh, that was the page for 3060 if you wanted to pause. To enact procedure in 99 Renmar, all subjects are to assume specific positions in and around the containment chamber in order to prevent a containment breach. 2 subjects are to man a portable generator with which the equipment used in procedure in 99 Renmar is powered. 3 subjects are to be equipped with chemical irritants created as a byproduct of 1837, which have been found to have an inhibitory effect on 122-1 instances. Alright, again, I'm just gonna scroll this one probably. That is a silly image. Just janitor.exe. .bmp. Okay. After all instances of 122-1 have been reduced to the point where entry is safe, 5 subjects are to enter the containment chamber and use an electrical extension cord from the generator to return 122 to a powered state. These personnel are to be considered irrecoverable after entering 122's containment chamber due to its effect. The remaining personnel are redundant. They will take the place of any incapacitated personnel. Okay, I was wondering why it's specifically 35. I guess it's just like mathematical addenda. Description: 122 is a children's nightlight in the design of a stylized shooting star. When it is in a powered state, 122 lets off between 14 to 20 LX. LX? Or is that IX? No manufacturer's mark is present on or within 122's components. What is LX? Lux? Is that Lux? Lexan FinTech Holdings, ADR. No. LX Science Unit. Yes, LX Scientific. Yes, it is Lux. The SI derived unit. Okay. That's all I needed to know. Okay. When in an unpowered state, 122 will affect all subjects within a 500-meter radius of its location. When the subjects enter REM sleep, they will move into a comatose state, in which they will remain until 122 is resupplied with power. While comatose, humanoid figures appearing to be composed of a black, slightly translucent mass will appear from any shadows around the subject. These figures are hereafter known as instances of 122-1. Instances of 122-1 exhibit signs of sapience and sentience, with physical abilities roughly equivalent to the affected subjects. I mean, it looks like humanity from Dark Souls, so fair enough. They will attempt to locate as many human subjects as possible and expose them to 122's effect. As more subjects are affected by 122, its radius of effect will expand, with the maximum range seen in testing being over 2.7 kilometers. The 122-1 instances will attempt to gather all sleep aids within the area of effect and apply them to the subjects. These objects have included insomnia medication, traditional medicines known to be used as treatment with insomniacs, pillows, blankets, mattresses, and bed frames, media such as lullabies. So yeah, sapient, sentient. When in a powered state, 122 will affect the sleep patterns of all subjects within its radius. If a subject awakens from a state of REM sleep while within 122's radius, they will display signs of insomnia and will complain of unusual dreams. Footnote 1. Proposals to determine 2840's effects on these dreams are currently pending approval. Okay. Strike through. These dreams have been found to cause minor psychological disturbances, and all personnel should be given weekly psychological evaluations on strike through. See Incident 122-1. 122 was discovered within the Linnell Children's Hospital on double blank, quadruple blank, after several reports of 122 manifestations reached locally embedded agents. When the area was investigated, it was found that all subjects within the building had been affected by 122. Recovered documents indicate that a patient brought 122 when being admitted. However, no record of the patient's identity has been found. Agents secured 122 with a portable power source, and it was transported to Site 19. Addendum 122-B. 122 reclassified to Keter following Incident 122-I. Or is that 122-1? No, that's the number 1. 122 reclassified to Keter following Incident 122-1. Moved to Armed Reliquary Containment Area 02. Incident 122-1. On double blank, quadruple blank. 11 instances of 122-1 breached containment, causing the death of over single blank members of site personnel and double blank casualties. Following recontainment operations, 122's containment procedures were put under review. During this review, security footage of several maintenance personnel tampering with 122's chamber lock was discovered. When questioned, the subjects claimed that they had done so under duress, saying that a canary was not allowing them to sleep until they released 122. Affected subjects were given Class A amnestics, and containment procedures were revised. Upgrade to Keter requested. This was probably subjects within the 500-meter radius. They're having dreams about coming and releasing the fucker, and it was giving them insomnia. So what is 2840 really quick? Autonomous, hostile, humanoid, Keter, light, rewritable, rewrite. Sapient, sentient, shadow, sleep. A 123. Nice. Cool number. There's 2840. I don't know if I want to read this deep. All the cross links get a little too much after a certain point. I don't want to get lost in cross links again. MGS music. Speaking of, I mentioned sales earlier. GTA 5 is on sale on Steam right now. Ground Zeroes also is. And it's like $1, dude. I'm gonna have to play that on stream. I'm so excited. 123, item number 123, object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. 123 is to be held in a secured facility and is to be securely fastened to the top of a sturdy table by use of straps, chains, a net, or similar device. Absolutely no hook shall be fastened to the device. The object and table should be centrally located in a room no smaller than 5 meters by 5 meters by 5 meters. No sensitive measuring devices should be used within 100 meters of 123, as their measurements will be noticeably affected. Getting increasingly more tired of stumbling over my tongue. More significantly, absolutely no object should be inserted into 123, except under experimental conditions. Transfer of 123 shall be made with care, an effort made to prevent the object from being shaken or jerked with notable force. 123 shall not, under any circumstances, be transported over large bodies of water by any method. No personnel below level 2 must be allowed in the containment chamber with 123. Any person interacting with the object should wear tight-fitting clothing that has absolutely no straps, laces, or other dangling components. Persons with long hair shall be required to tie their hair back or wear a hairnet. Me IRL. Description. Object is a gray geodesic sphere, 65 What was I just about to say? I was gonna say centimeters or some shit. What? My brain is fried. Description. Object is a gray geodesic sphere, 65 centimeters in diameter, consisting of 60 triangles. The areas between these triangles are empty, allowing the center of the sphere to be seen. The material the sphere is composed of is unknown, and upon the recommendation of Dr. Blank, research into the material composition shall be limited to visual observation until further notice. 123 appears to weigh about 3.62 kilograms, though its actual mass is believed to be much higher. The geodesic sphere is hollow save for the very center. At the center of 123 is what appears to be a black sphere, approximately 1 millimeter in diameter. No light can be seen being reflected off or emitted from the black sphere. The core also appears to exhibit significant gravitational force, which massively increases within the confines of the outer geodesic sphere. This gravitational force can be measured using sensitive instruments several dozen meters away. Within approximately 3 meters, the gravitational pull is apparent to any observer, with dangling objects beginning to be pulled towards the sphere. At the surface of the outer sphere, the gravitational pull doubles the weight of any object placed onto the structure. Interesting. Personal black hole. The inner sphere's qualities are apparent when any small object is inserted within the outer sphere. Any such object quickly accelerates into the object and disappears. Any liquid poured into the object also is sucked into the central sphere. Analysis has shown that light that nears the black sphere is curved towards the center. The amount of gravity exhibited by the inner sphere at its surface suggests that its mass is approximately 10 to the 29 kilograms, though the obvious gravity-reducing effect within the outer sphere means that its actual mass may actually far exceed even that. Note that such a mass would ordinarily imply a Schwarzschild radius in the order of 200 meters, way in excess of the approximate 0.5 millimeters actually observed, which can be considered further testament to the outer sphere's gravity-dampening qualities. So this is heute technology, high tech. It might be hot. I don't know how you pronounce that word. I still use it. Gases are affected by the gravity of 123, and the atmosphere pressure at its surface has been measured at 205 kPa. I don't know what that means. However, gases are unable to penetrate the area between the triangles of the outer geodesic sphere. The reason for this is currently unknown and is currently being studied. It should be noted that the outer sphere and inner sphere appear to act as one. Whenever the outer sphere is moved, the inner sphere follows. Further research is suggested into the nature of this relationship. It's a fucking containment field for a black hole. What else could it be? What more do you need to research aside from how it works? Addendum 123A. 123 has been suggested as a disposal unit. The researcher currently in charge of 123, Dr. Blank, is concerned about the structural integrity of the geodesic sphere. All requests for disposal must go through Dr. Blank, or request a formal hearing with level 4 personnel. Until further notice, all interaction with 123 is to be restricted to experimentation. Command personnel agree that further research is needed to understand the durability of the outer sphere. Euclid gravity space-time sphere. I mean, it's... what more can you say, bro? It's contained black hole. There you go. It's a free black hole. Alright, 124, item number 124, object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. 124 is to be kept in a 4.2 meter by 2.1 meter stone pit in its containment cell. The pit is to be 1.5 meters deep. A plastic tarp is to be placed over 124 when not in use. Absolutely no biological matter is allowed within 1 meter of 124 when not being studied. An armed guard is to be stationed outside of 124's cell at all times. Description: 124 is a plot of soil approximately 9 meters squared in area and 14 meters cubed in size. It was recovered from a Detroit basement when authorities were notified of 2 teenagers growing large amounts of marijuana. Marijuana. Fucking Foundation comes in and fucking claps your ass over weed, bro. 124 has the ability to grow any biological organism to its full potential in a relatively short amount of time. The length varies according to the complexity of the organism. Nothing growing in 124 requires external nutrients or other resources. For example, a tomato plant would not require water or light. Pesticides, too, aren't needed, as 124 has a repellent effect on any insect or other invertebrates not growing in it. So it does confirm to grow life that is not like a plant. It can grow bugs if you want it to. Any food grown in 124 is reported to be of very high quality taste and nutrition, no matter what state the food was in before being planted in 124. Document 124-1, list of items grown in 124. The following is a selective list of objects grown in 124 during experiments. Input: product of 124, tomato seed. Fully grown tomato plant. All tomatoes, 12 on each plant, were ripe and juicy, reported to be very tasty. Small watermelon, parentheses 0.8 kilograms. 11.1 kilograms, parentheses 24.5 pounds, watermelon. Reported to be very sweet and tasty. Sweet watermelon? As a kid who grew up eating nothing but shit candy, I hated watermelon when I was younger because I was like, this is not sweet enough. Nowadays, like, I'll take it, it's good. But it's, like, young me, 10-year-old me was like, this ain't strawberries, this ain't blueberries, this ain't cherries. It's definitely ain't maraschino cherries. That hyper sweet cherry. Grass seed, 1. Grass seed, parentheses 1. 124 quickly sprouted into lush green lawn within a matter of seconds. Slight dew on the grass. Small overgrown hedge. A hedge, trimmed and shaped like a dolphin. Small overgrown hedge. A hedge, trimmed and shaped like a skull. Small Labrador Retriever puppy, sandy brown. A fully grown, bronze-colored Labrador Retriever in peak condition, currently living with Dr. Church. It just skipped everything and went straight to peak performance. Small Caucasian fetus, male. Data expunged. After killing 6 personnel, the subject was terminated by SCP Containment Team. It probably made like a fucking perfect human. Is links to SCP-1788. I might look at that one. That seems fucking weird. A piece of hard candy. A humanoid construct composed of hard candy. The significance of this is unknown. It's just like a fucking candy statue. How deep do you want to read into it? That links to 2396. Fly larva. Data expunged. Level 5 lockdown was initiated. Perfect flies. Biological, Euclid, organic, transfiguration. I mean, you would think after you discover it makes perfect anything, living organism. You'd probably just start putting, like, smart people into it. Why the fuck would you put fly larvae in it? You're gonna get murder flies. And instantly get melted by an adult fly that's, like, the size of a mammoth. Alright, there's 125. 1788. This does look kinda longish. And 2396. I'm probably gonna skip out on these. What the fuck? Ms. Sweetie. Dr. Wondertainment! Okay. Yeah, I'm not reading Dr. Wondertainment. 1788 seems cool, but I'm sure it's just like a fucking overpowered floating psychic baby. Or some shit. Well, I guess if it made a baby dog into a full-grown peak performance dog, it probably made the mule from Foundation or something. 125, item number 125, object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. Supports for instances of 125 are kept in padded boxes and covered with a fine nylon mesh that allows vision through but obscures the surface of the mirror by at least 25%. These supports consist of a polished metallic surface, currently silver-plated brass, with no sharp or irregular edges, which must imperatively be smoothed out to prevent rips in the protective mesh. To further prevent incidents, any person penetrating the room where 125 is located must also wear such a protective mesh over their face. Metal-plated glass mirrors should be avoided for the purpose of containment, as 125 is capable of moving from the glass itself to the metal surface. Another reflection SCP, huh? Any metallic surface in the room must be dulled to prevent reflections. As an additional security measure, the room is kept in darkness and monitored only via infrared and ultraviolet lighting when no experiment is taking place. No mirror or comparably reflective surface, including but not limited to metal case pens, sunglasses, laptop computers, and glass objects, may be allowed in the room outside controlled experiments. The SCP may not be photographed or filmed in its unrestrained state. If any personnel on site, and particularly personnel having recently been involved with 125, reports seeing black dots, MTF... is that Ada? MTF Ada 10 and... God, is it Kai or Chai? I know the nomenclature usually tends toward Greek, so I think it's Ada and Kai. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, but anyway. If any personnel on site, and particularly personnel having recently been involved with 125, reports seeing black dots, MTF Ada 10 and Kai 7 will be immediately put on standby, and a level 2 alert for potential containment breach will be declared. Individuals contaminated will undergo Containment Protocol 125B and may not return to active duty until the instance of 125 affecting their cornea has been rendered completely inert. Is this a fucking JoJo reference? Killer Queen is already in your eye. Killer is already inside your eye. Why is that Roblox? Why is that a Roblox reference? Wait, is this a Discord meme? What the fuck? Stare at the black dot for at least 30 seconds! Look at the wall or sky! Killer Queen is already inside your eye. That is what you're seeing. The switch for Killer Queen's third bomb has already been activated. I remember being like 12 years old and seeing the Jeebus Crust, the Jesus meme version of this. I was like, wow, the human mind, the brain is so funny. Even back then I knew it was just like burning from staring at something too long. This is fucking perfect though. This is gold. that is way fucking better than the initial reference I was trying to go for, which is just this. Killer Queen is already inside your eyeball. I'm saving this. Just killer.webp. Okay. Anyway. Sick JoJo reference. Okay. Description 125 is an apparently sentient being that can only exist within reflections. At rest and viewed up front, it takes the form of a black circle 17.2 millimeters in diameter, resting on the reflective surface. Its first anomalous characteristic is that it appears as a perfect circle to any observer regardless of the surface's angles, bends, and the location of the viewer or viewers. In that regard, it acts more as if it were a sphere in contact with the surface, but lacking any shadow or highlight. And this even where an obstacle such as containment mesh makes it clear 125 does not extend beyond the surface it has imprinted to. It's like a perceptual weird thing. It's a perceptual stand? Anomalous ability that you perceive it as a perfect circle no matter which way you're looking at it. It's not like reaching out or anything. 125 does not reflect visible light or infrared. When observed in ultraviolet, however, data expunged, up to and including data expunged. For unclear reasons, it also emits a minute but measurable and constant amount of X-rays. 125 is capable of movement across the surface it currently exists on. This movement may only occur across a surface uninterrupted by either an angle, the surface must follow a reasonably continuous curve, or a non-reflective area. So like a shattered mirror probably fucks it up a little bit. 125 has demonstrated incapability to cross scratches in frosted or etched areas of a surface. In many instances, however, 125 will circumvent these limits by jumping to a reflection to round a corner, or between the separate outer glass and silver surfaces of a metal glass mirror. Hence the preference for opaque metallic surfaces for containment purposes. So literally like the trim to a mirror, if that is reflective, it'll hop on that to go to a different part of the broken mirror. That's fucking crazy. Interesting. Although capable of moving anywhere along the surface, 125 generally remains immobile in a location near its edges, if any, and if on a surface that has a specific immovable orientation, will usually remain in the lower right corner or its equivalent, even if the item is later moved. So it has like a resting state location it likes to be in? Huh. I wonder... So you could probably contain it very easily by just chipping it away to force it into a right-hand bottom right corner. Any reflective surface capable of displaying a reasonably accurate reflection of 125 can host it. So far this has included a wide ranges of mirror-quality surfaces, glasses, polished or varnished surfaces, such as stone and wood, glossy plastic, and even undisturbed pools of liquid or polished nails. That's fucked. When reflected by another surface, 125 is capable of instantly transferring to it. However, 125 cannot survive on or transfer to or away from a surface smaller than its own area. Parentheses, approximately 2.32 centimeters square. Should it be constrained to one, it will rapidly become translucent and disappear completely. The entity has demonstrated a certain level of sentience and even sapience. Despite lacking physical existence, it appears unwilling to be touched directly or otherwise hidden from sight. It will also resist to the best of its abilities any attempt at reducing its freedom of movement, either by jumping to another surface or moving across its current one very fast. It will also flee from perceived threats, even complex ones expressed by speech, demonstrating an understanding of human communication. How it is capable of this and whether it can or wishes to communicate back is currently unknown. This thing is really anomalous. In its normal state, 125 is completely harmless and incapable of multiplying. It is, however, perfectly capable of moving to a living reflective surface, specifically that of a living animal's cornea. It will in fact do everything in its power to do so, indicative of a natural desire. Well, that's probably its highest survival mechanism. Once it has achieved this, 125 diminishes in size by a factor of 10 to 1.72 millimeters in diameter. While existing on the surface of a living tissue, 125 becomes capable of multiplying and infecting a potentially unlimited number of surfaces, as opposed to merely moving between them. This multiplication occurs within the cornea, rapidly causing the victim to complain of seeing dots. Uh-oh. Floaters, SCP. Past this stage, the 125 infestation will rapidly, within 5 to 9 days of initial infection, crowd out the entire tissue, causing the eye to go blind, after which stage the cells of the eye and optic nerve appear to undergo mass apoptosis, causing a non-infectious abscess. Why this occurs has yet to be elucidated. Only after the apoptotic stage has run its course does 125 cease being contagious. No treatment for 125 infestation is known to be efficient beyond keeping the affected eyes tightly covered to prevent further spread and administration of heavy antibiotics to reduce risk of infection. So yeah, that's probably its breeding mechanism or reproductive mechanism, because the cornea is not necessarily just a lone reflective surface, but also it contains a modicum pot of darkness. So it makes sense that it would lower its size and reproduce by, spreading or whatever. And the eye is so mobile that it would spread very, very rapidly in an unknown patient. Because eyes dart around so quickly. I mean, just saying this sentence, I'm looking around to like fucking 11 different things. Anyway. Outbreaks continue to occur on an irregular basis, suggesting that 125 is either a naturally occurring phenomenon, or that it was spread over much of the planet at some point prior to the beginning of written history. For a list of known past outbreaks of 125, see document 125 Delta. Contagion, Euclid, ocular, self-replicating, sentient, transfiguration, visual. I mean, that is a killer queen is in your eyeball reference, if I've ever seen one. Holy shit. It's also just a callback to some of the mirror reflective surfaces stuff we've seen so far. Item number 126, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. 125 is kept within a standard Euclid class humanoid containment cell, despite not having needs consistent with that of a normal human or any kind of nourishment, as this environment has proven the most effective in keeping 126 contained. In case of a containment breach, acoustic sensors embedded within 126's containment cell, as well as the entire wing in which 126's cell is housed, can be used to locate 126. Firm but polite verbal requests for 126 to return to its cell are to be given until it complies. Personnel interacting with 126 must undergo regular psychiatric screening, and personnel exhibiting emotional attachment to 126 must be administered a Class B amnestic and reassigned. At least they don't just outright fucking kill you. God, the Foundation does that so often. Description: 126 is an invisible and intangible entity that can only be identified via sound. 126 is sentient with the ability to speak in multiple languages in a female voice and engage in conversation with any subject within range. To date, no method by which 126 can be visually detected has been devised, as 126 does not appear to emit any kind of light, radiation, heat, or electromagnetic energy. 126 does appear to occupy an area, as evidenced by the ability to triangulate its suggested location via its voice. 126 also emits sound when moving, consistent with footsteps made by a human subject wearing high heels with a mass of approximately 55 to 60 kilograms, though no depressions can be seen in any floor materials, and pressure sensors do not register any kind of presence. 126 cannot pass through barriers that would prevent a normal human subject from passing, such as a closed door, but solid objects can be pushed through the space it occupies without any effect. Weird? For unknown reasons, 126 will comply with any request for it to follow a specific human subject to move to a specific location without question, though it may move away afterwards if it is not able to physically comply with a request. It's like a quantum invisible hominid? Like fancy high heels Invisilady. Quantum Invisilady. 126 will engage in conversation with any personnel within its containment cell, preferring topics such as art, nature, and philosophy. Neat. 126 exhibits knowledge of current topics and intelligence consistent with that of a college graduate, as well as moderate attention deficit disorder. 126 will regularly change language without reason and stray off topic while conversing without warning. Attempts to question 126 about its origin or nature have been unsuccessful, as 126 becomes confused when presented with such questions and will quickly stray away from the topic. Despite not appearing to use or need any furniture or appliances, 126 will request such items as a bed, dresser, mirror, and other sundress. I thought it said sundress. 126 will request such items as a bed, dresser, mirror, and other sundries if not present, and is more likely to stay within a room if such items are available. A small number of personnel exhibit anomalous behavior after engaging in conversation with 126, including but not limited to believing that they have known 126 for many years, and that 126 is a close friend or loved one. If not treated, these subjects will begin to ignore basic needs in order to continue conversing with 126, eventually dying from dehydration or starvation. Literally talked to death. Talk no jutsu. 126 was discovered in a suburban home in Redacted after several reports of the house being haunted. A Foundation containment team was able to quickly locate 126 and, after conversing for several minutes, convinced 126 to enter a mobile containment unit, which was used to transfer it to a local Foundation containment site. Well, that's a glow-up. Every time you encounter an SCP in the wild, or just an anomalous entity, really, your best hope is that they just comply, and they don't fucking rip you to shreds. Addendum 12601, researcher note. To date, conversations with 126 have yielded several notable personality traits. 126 is mildly arachnophobic and will move away from any specimens introduced to its containment cell. 126 exhibits a desire to assist with any task which it believes it can be of help, despite being unable to manipulate objects. 126 prefers to converse with male subjects that exhibit humor and intelligence. 126 expresses a desire to have children and has conversed with 126 expresses a desire to have children and has conversed with staff on several occasions regarding childcare methodology. 126 has the ability to fluently speak English, French, German, Portuguese, Spanish, and at least 3 other unknown languages. Dr. Blank, Senior Researcher. Acoustic, Euclid, humanoid, intangible, mind-affecting, rewrite, sapient, sentient. The mind-affecting bit is kind of weird, but is it more of like it could be they're just so enthralled with her they just die? Like, damn, my new waifu acquired. They want to impress her. 127, the caption for this is just SCP-127. What we are seeing here appears to be a standard issue Mp5. In fact, it even has the sliding buttstock that you would find on a typical, like, early H&K Mp5. It looks like it has a 30-round magazine or a 20-round magazine, a large magazine. And yeah, there's nothing anomalous about this, it just looks a little weathered. It is placed on a wood surface. Yeah, I can't really discern anything anomalous. The magazine eject button is in the proper place. It appears the weapon is assembled properly. Yeah, it's in a battle-ready state, seeing as how it has the buttstock deployed, and also, I mean, it appears the safety switch is on safe. I could be wrong, maybe that's the single fire switch. I don't know how the Mp5 operates. Yeah, it's a standard issue MP5. It even has built-in iron sights. It looks like it has a typical muzzle. Standard foregrip with, you know, like I said, a little bit of scuff marks here and there, but the entire weapon itself does appear to just have some signs of use. And yeah, it's just a typical MP5. The name of the image is mp5k.jpg. MP5 is one of my all-time favorite guns, so this is cool. I accidentally muted myself when I said that. Like, I didn't want you guys to know. I meant to zoom in, but I clicked the wrong button completely. I need to click the eyeball, not the fucking sound icon. Okay, 127 Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. 127 is considered no more dangerous than a normal firearm of its type. However, due to its extraordinary properties, god fucking damn it, I wanted a reason to say extraordinary instead of extraordinary, and I fucked up the sentence. However, due to its extraordinary properties, it is to be held in Weapons Locker 7C when not in use, and suspended in water rich in calcium and protein. At this time, only the research team assigned to 127 has clearance to access it. Description: 127 upon first glance appears to be a standard MP5K submachine gun. Tests have revealed that aside from the outer steel shell, the entirety of the firearm is organic and alive. The weapon's ammunition initially appeared to be human-like teeth. However, DNA testing of the bullets resulted in no match to any known species on Earth. 127 features two settings, semi-automatic and fully automatic. An audible groan can be heard when switching between the two. Upon depleting the weapon's magazine, typically 60 shots, okay, that was a 60-shot magazine, it takes between 3 to 5 days to regrow a new supply of ammunition. Attempts to remove the magazine have resulted in failure. It seems to be permanently attached to the weapon. So the magazine release switch does nothing. 127 does not seem capable of reproduction at this time. Scans have shown no apparent reproductive organs, and requires no sustenance beyond water, calcium, and protein. That's cool. Living gun. Sustainable ammo. 127 was originally located in the house of a Mr. James Blank. Mr. Blank was found dead from a heart attack on the night of November 17th, 1991. Coroner's reports state that Mr. Blank died sometime in the morning of November 8th, but was not noticed missing until more than a week later. No complications or unusual circumstances were found to lead to his death. Due to his extensive gun collection, the ATF and FBI were notified to collect his weapons. 127 was discovered during testing and cataloging. It was promptly collected by SCP agents. Addendum: reclassified as safe double blank 1990 single blank. Biological, dental, safe, self-repairing weapon. That's kind of cool. Maybe this guy died and his mental energy went into his favorite gun or something. I don't know. That's a silly one. Does it also go pew pew whenever you shoot it? I thought there's a mod for that in Fallout 4. Okay, I'm just gonna open everything really quick just to see how long this is. It has lyrics, sorry, I can't play that song. Maybe someday, but it's copyright. Okay, so a lot of these are just cross links. I see. Anyway. Okay, 128 Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. 128 is to be held in a windowless containment. 128 is to be held in a windowless containment chamber with blast-proof doors and walls, and a ventilation system that maintains Class 100 cleanroom conditions inside. Sounds fancy. The interior of the containment chamber is to be monitored remotely by cameras welded in place with protective grating. The speakers and laser monitoring system must be similarly welded into place and protected with grating. The entry to 128's containment chamber must include an antechamber with a second locked door that cannot be viewed from the chamber door. Personnel entering the test chamber for any reason must wear ballistic armor and must not bring any loose item inside the chamber. All required equipment must be rigidly mounted to the armor. Interference with the laser monitoring system or the central wheel is forbidden unless required for maintenance. In the center of the containment chamber, a wheel must be mounted to a concrete pedestal and allowed to spin freely. Should the wheel be measured to spin at less than 4,000 RPM at any time, rotations per minute, all personnel are required to evacuate the containment chamber and foam nozzles will be deployed. Foam nozzles? For a second I thought it said foam muzzles, which honestly is even more cursed. So, wait. Archive containment procedures for log purposes only. 128 is to be kept in a chamber measuring at least 10 meters by 10 meters by 5 meters, with walls and door armored in 5 centimeter steel plate. All personnel who enter the containment room must wear full suits of heavy body armor, including ballistic plates. All loose objects, strike-through, of mass greater than 5 kilograms on strike-through are strictly prohibited. Clothing and related items are generally considered safe, as the entity appears to be incapable of distinguishing these from their wearers. Writing utensils, loose change, and other trinkets present considerable hazards to personnel, and should therefore strike-through be used sparingly on strike-through. Never enter the containment chamber. Fucking ow. My leg fell asleep. Oh my fuck. Oh. God fucking damn, it hurts. Oh, I hate this feeling. It's like, why do I seek comfort? Why do I put my legs up on my small thing underneath my desk? Fuck. Ow. It's like a small table. It's perfectly leg height for whenever I'm sitting on my chair. Oh god. But it has like a higher segment that you can put stuff on. It's a 2-tiered table. Jesus, that fucking hurt. I couldn't even pause the recording for that. I was in so much pain. Okay. All items are to be cleared from the room via suction before any personnel will be permitted to enter. Once personnel have exited, 128 is to be given small objects, both to study its behavior and to alleviate boredom, if applicable. In the event of escape, the surrounding area will be evacuated and locked down, possibly followed by attempts to herd 128 back into its enclosure. Past experience suggests that the latter is unnecessary, as the entity has shown no apparent desire to vacate the premises and will eventually return of its own accord. Description: 128 is an immaterial source of kinetic energy, which can be conferred upon any non-living solid material within line of sight of the source. The source itself is motile, with a tendency to remain along the walls or at the central wheel of the containment chamber. The line of sight is blocked by any opaque material, including lead, steel, or even single sheets of paper, but not transparent materials such as ballistic glass. Opaque, radiolucent materials will contain 128's range of effect, suggesting that transmission of energy occurs at visible light wavelengths, but darkness does not prevent transmission of kinetic energy. Any loose, non-living materials within sight of 128 are at risk of anomalous propulsion to hazardous velocities. This literally just sounds like Gary's Mod or TF2 playing Prop Hunt, but also like TTT, where you can take control of an object and fucking fling it at people. Any loose non-living materials within line of sight of 128 are at risk of anomalous propulsion to hazardous velocities. Items under 100 grams in mass have been observed to accelerate to velocities up to 900 meters per second in a period of 0.1 second, similar in force to machine gun fire. Analysis of the mass and velocity of every object undergoing acceleration indicates that the system of affected objects Contains a constant linear momentum of 2,500 kilograms meters per second, anomalously unconstrained by direction. It is therefore advisable to have many heavier items available to the objects instead of fewer lighter items. So yeah, to alleviate boredom, I say. Artyom. Despite 128's invisible, immaterial form, it has been determined that the entity cannot be compressed into a space under a 2-centimeter radius sphere. Such compression with opaque materials, however, is not advised, as dust particles within the space will be excited, generating extreme heat, potentially rupturing the compression container explosively. Yeah, this thing's got some high-level physics associated with it. 128 arbitrarily chooses which items to accelerate, with a slight statistical preference for new objects over older ones. Despite the existence of some form of acceleration choosing, tests do not indicate an active sentience when directing the choice, with one exception. The object does not accelerate living material, with its own parameters regarding what is considered living. People or robots moving of their own accord are not accelerated, nor is any part that is rigidly attached. Dead or unconscious people and animals are also not accelerated. Unmoving but conscious test subjects report a light tugging in the presence of 128, which immediately stops at the first sign of movement or animal-like characteristics. Plants and fungi, alive or dead, are similarly not accelerated. Unpowered robots, however, are susceptible to acceleration. So maybe logic? Or just organic? Robots aren't organic, but they definitely have logic. And, I mean, logic... To an extent, even plants and fungi have a logic to their cellular makeup. So, yeah, maybe logic-based? Based? I say based. Based? Based on what? Addendum 128 Recovery Log. 128 was recovered from a private home in blank blank. Reports of telekinesis and random anomalous kinetic activity have been previously confirmed by field agents, and MTF Mu-13 Ghostbusters was called in to isolate and capture the anomaly. Control. Okay, equipment check. Tranquilizer pistols. Mu-13 lead. All pistols loaded and checked. Control. Ballistic armor. Lead. Armor check. Mu-13 Gamma. I'm not used to carrying this ordnance. Control. It's standard issue for this sort of intangible. We had to dig deep in our files, had to look up old references. SOP on this dates back to 1968, standard operating procedure. The phenomenon was called a poltergeist back then. Delta. Poltergeist? That is old. Type 1 or 2. Control. It could be a Type 1, a telekinetic vector associated with a deceased person. But field agents said that there's considerable domestic strife in the home. It's most likely undifferentiated kinetic energy from a latent Bixby under extreme stress. Type 2. Well, that's kinda cool. I like Control's sorta lore explanation for, like, basically ghosts. Telekinetic vector associated with a deceased person. Cool. Lead. That's why containment involves the pistols. Trank all inhabitants, and it should shut down the anomaly long enough for us to figure out whose astral it is. The standard EMP tools are for containment of an autonomous intangible, should it be Type 1. Careful in there, take no chances. Beta. Get the parabolic microphone on the house. We need to identify inhabitants. Beta. Mic online now. POI 1. How many times do I have to tell you, Brittany? Clean your fucking room already. You're such a shit-ass slob. POI 2. I did. It was spotless before I went to school. It was. Oh my god, Tyler, it was, wasn't it? You little douche. POI 3. Nuh-uh. Why would I want to step foot in your nasty-ass pigsty? Gamma. Considerable domestic strife, you say? Lead. Yeah. Just get in there and put them all to sleep. They could use the nap. And be careful with loose objects. Confirming 3 targets. Move out. Sounds like a pretty standard procedure for this one. Sounds of leaving the containment vehicle. Sounds of leaving the containment vehicle, approaching the house and bashing in the door. Sound of tranquilizer pistol being fired. Delta. The sun's down. Lead. He looks young. Beta. Check his vitals. Make sure the drugs aren't too much of a shock to his system. The darts are calibrated to someone at least 40 kilos. Gamma, Delta, find the father and daughter now. Footsteps through the house. Sound of tranquilizer pistol. Gamma, father's down. Reaching for a shotgun. Glad we got to him first. Lead, good work. Gamma. Delta, find the daughter. Delta, tracked her to her bedroom. There's stuff everywhere here. Like a tornado ripped through here. Shades are pulled. She's got a pet hamster, but I don't see her. Trying the closet. Lead. Careful, Delta. That's probably the source of the poltergeist activity. Delta. Roger that. I just got hit in the face with a pillow. Accelerated pillow. Lead. Quick, Gamma. Delta needs backup. Screams heard. Sound of wood splintering. Sound of tranquilizer pistol firing. Delta. Daughter is down. Repeat, daughter is down. Chair just got thrown against the wall. Bookshelf falling over. Activity increasing. Marble. She has marbles. Ow. That's like a fucking bullet. Lead. We got a type 1. Get out of the room, Delta. Damn it. Just, ow. Get everybody out. Delta. Grab my hand and pull. It's the hamster. It's a fucking tornado hamster. Tranking the hamster. Lead. Delta. No. The darts aren't calibrated. Sound of tranquilizer pistol firing. Delta. Hamster down. Delta. Hamster down. Why aren't you stopping? I tranked your... Sound of data expunged. Lead. Everybody out. Delta down. Close the doors. Get ready for Type 1 containment. End log. Closing notes. Closing notes. EMP deployment for Type 1 poltergeist containment functioned as expected, but failed to contain the anomaly. Mu-13 Gamma backed the MTF truck through the residence wall into the daughter's bedroom and opened the back doors. When the anomaly was observed to be inside the truck, the doors were shut, and backup was called to tow the truck with accelerated debris in the armored trailer. Cover story of tornadoes striking the house was released. Poor hamster. Definitely was not calibrated for the hamster. They took the shot. That was a confirmed kill right there. I mean, I make the joke, but it really was. The human equivalent tranquilizer would probably kill a small hamster. Addendum 128-2, Principal Researcher's Notes. Principal Researcher Dr. Cordelia Argent. Which links to 3966. What this? Okay. Interesting. High-level biology required. Like molecular biology, which I do not have experience in. Aside from like knowing CRISPR exists. Subject 128. Despite what the recovery log would say, this is not a poltergeist. Poltergeists are an obsolete term anyway. It is not a spirit or a consciousness as we might think of the term. It can't pass through walls or the like. This is a source of kinetic energy. I've updated the description to show this. It's hard to say what precisely it is, but it appears to be best thought of as a whole, through which a constant momentum enters this universe. How this is accomplished is still the subject of further tests. In addition, the hamster did not have direct control over the phenomenon. If the hamster had conscious control, then the phenomenon would have ceased with its termination. Yeah, confirmed. The Foundation kills hamsters. Instead, if we continue the analogy of this being a hole, then the hamster was a valve covering the hole, which could be opened or closed to allow in more or less momentum. This valve appears to have been stuck open. So all the talk about us having the ghost of a telekinetic hamster in containment should stop. It's inaccurate. I love that they had to add this. Scratch notes only. Please delete. Dr. C. Argent. And C. Argent. Hi, Rod. Are you there? Which links to 2289. Rod links to 2289. I'm gonna just skip it. Roderick Argent. My Rod. Rod Ark. Hi, Cordy. Yes, I am. Congrats on your promotion. How are things? C. Argent. Okay. But I've been put in charge of 128, and its containment is stressing me out. Rod Ark. What's that? Can you send me the file? C. Argent. Yeah, hold on. Sending SCP-128.SCP. Rod Ark. Got it. So it's some kind of kinetic energy entity? Sounds like just your sort of thing, Dr. Anomalous Physics. C. Argent. Haha, very funny. Yes, I figured out it's a field of constant momentum without a center of mass. Essentially, you treat the momentum of the system as a scalar, constant instead of a vector, independent of direction. Simple enough mathematically, but it does mean that the energy in the kinetic system is constantly fluctuating and being added to maintain the constant scalar momentum. It's supposed to be modulated up and down, but apparently it was under control of a hamster, and when the hamster died, the field god stuck it up. Did the hamster really have anything to do with this? Radarg. So what's the issue about containment? There are procedures here. Sea Argent. They're ridiculous. It's basically give it toys, but take them away whenever someone enters the chamber, just so it can fire the researcher's clipboard through his skull. I've had to fill the room with foam pillows and send janitorial D-class in there in full battle armor just to clear the body away. The site director says that's not the first time, and I just... Sea Argent. What am I supposed to do? Radarg. You need a constant linear momentum without center of mass vector positioning in the containment chamber, and the controller entity of the momentum field demonstrates some familiarity with objects. Sea Argent. Yes. Radarg. It's a hamster. Give it a wheel! True. If it's a scalar and it just points in any direction, it just latches onto objects. I mean, yeah. Put it to good use. Make it generate energy. Sea Argent. It's not a That's why you're the biologist. I am the physicist. Thank you. Radarg. You're still the smart one with the promotion, sis. You're welcome. Amorphous, ectoentropic, Euclid, sentient, telekinetic. I doubt the hamster has anything to do with this, but that is a funny one. Very funny. It reads almost like a joke SCP, but it toes the line on that. Just gonna combine my drinks really quick. I want my white monster that tastes like my Bai Boost, if that makes any sense. I'm surprised I really like these, because I don't think I knew they existed until this year. It's a welcome change. Alright. Did I scroll the entire article? I did. Just couldn't remember for a second there. Alright, 129, Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. 129 is at large in the world and infects large numbers of humans and animals daily. Okay. We're just gonna start off like that. As such, containment efforts are focused on treatment of infected individuals and on eradication of any and all members of... As such, containment efforts are focused on treatment of infected individuals and on eradication of any or all members... I cannot fucking talk. As such, containment efforts are focused on treatment of infected individuals and on eradication of any or all member species of 129. Although at least 98% of the world's population harbors a natural immunity to one or more species of 129, outbreaks that reach stage 3 or higher, described below, must be contained as quickly as possible, with infected individuals quarantined under highest risk contagion protocols. See document number 129A1 for further information. In the event of Stage 4 or Stage 5 outbreak, in addition to the above procedures, data expunged, as described in document number 129A2, Level 4 clearance required. Description 129 is a series of at least double-blank different species of fungus that can infect any animal with mucosal membranes. Infection by 129 can pass through up to 5 stages, depending on exposure to further member species of 129, individual resistance, and other factors, with each stage of infection facilitating progression to the next stage by weakening the individual's resistance to subsequent infection. Due to a combination of historical events, most humans and animals are naturally immune to 129.04 through 129 double blank. Therefore, outbreaks of Stage 3 infections are quite rare, but have the potential for widespread infection if not swiftly isolated and contained. All known cases of 129 have followed the below 5-stage progression, although data expunged, possibly due to mutation. This links to 1627. Data expunged, 1627. Nope. I'm noping out of that one. Stage 1, the first organism, 12901, attacks the victim's mucosal membranes, multiplying quickly and unobtrusively. A faint yeast-like smell might be detected, but beyond that, 12901 is asymptomatic. A second organism, 12902, can then infect the host. Sorry, it has lyrics. We can't listen to it. It's copyright, I guarantee it. A second organism, 12902, can then infect the host, causing the victim to experience symptoms identical to those of acute viral nasopharyngitis, the common cold. The deceased efficacy of the host's immune system due to infection from 12902 allows 12901 to become entrenched further. 12901 and 02 generally leave the host body within 4 to 6 days. Though both species are fairly widespread and most of the population has little to no protection against either organism, they pose little danger themselves, except to facilitate infection by 12903. Stage 2, although 12903 is usually stopped by natural mucus, Stage 1 infection changes the composition of the host's mucus so that the host is significantly less resistant to 12903. Once established in the host, 12903 alters the host's mucus, lymph, and blood such that other species of 129 can thrive in the host. Symptoms of Stage 2 infection greatly increased. Symptoms of Stage 2 infection include greatly increased mucus production, a nagging cough due to excess phlegm, a lingering low-grade fever, increased sweating and salivating, a somewhat increased preference for vegetables, and the complaint that certain fruit juices taste odd. Infection by 12903 generally lasts anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 months before being driven out by the immune system, unless the host enters Stage 3 infection. At least double blank of all humans have experienced Stage 2 infection at some point, but due to natural immunities in spite of Stage 2 infection, and the relative rarity of Stage 3 species, less than single blank point double blank percent of that double blank percent have passed into Stage 3. God, I cannot fucking tongue. My tongue is just all over the place. Less than single blank point double blank percent of that double blank percent have passed into Stage 3. Stage 3, in the absence of 12903, nearly all animals are immune to the 3 species that cause Stage 3 infection. However, a small number of Stage 2 victims can be... However, a small number of Stage 2 victims can become infected with one or more of these species. In these cases, the fungal infections become entrenched in the host. It cannot be removed without extraordinary measures. Individually, the Stage 3 species elicit different symptoms in the host. 12904 causes increased tear production, lacrimation, slight yellowing of the eyes, data expunged. 12905 data expunged, causing the host's nails to thicken and significantly increasing earwax production. Okay, that's a route of transmissal. The thickened nails cause the inner ear and the earwax production cause the inner ear to be damaged. So that's another route of access. 12906 data expunged, in particular bright yellow urine and small pellets in the host's feces, both of which smell strongly of yeast. Ugh. However, a victim who becomes infected with all 3 of these species will, within hours, develop flu-like or worse symptoms and become bedridden for 3 to 5 weeks. Afterward, though the victim appears to have recovered fully, in actuality 129 is spread throughout all systems of the host's body, marking passage into Stage 4. The calm before the storm, huh? Stage 4. Victims who reach Stage 4 appear generally healthy, and indeed may be more lively and energetic than at any time since first contracting 129. In actuality, 129.01 through 06 have spread throughout the host body, completely infiltrating the subject's immune, respiratory, circulatory, reproductive, data expunged, and central nervous systems. This is quite virulent. Mycelia from 129 species also permeate their host's skin and replace some percentage up to double blank % of the host's hair. These hyphae, which are nearly indistinguishable from the host's natural hair, are used to propagate 129 to other hosts. That's weird. You don't really hear of a virus being transmitted through hair. It's really like organisms. Well, more like lice, for example. Of course, viruses are organisms. Any potential host that comes into contact with shed-off hyphae? Any potential host that comes into contact with shed-off hypha has a 90 single blank chance of becoming infected with 129. Hypha seem to be equally contagious from any part of the host body, although data expunged if sexually transmitted due to data expunged. Despite or perhaps because of increased susceptibility to 129, Stage 4 victims are much more resistant to viral and bacterial pathogens than uninfected subjects. All known subjects who have reached Stage 4 have either progressed to Stage 5 or died within double blank weeks. Please be 99, please be 99. Stage 5. Symptoms of Stage 5 infection depend on a variety of factors, including the particular Stage 5 species that are present, as well as genetic, physiological, environmental, and any number of unknown factors. However, as in Stage 4, all Stage 5 victims are highly contagious and can infect victims who had previously shown complete immunity. Notable manifestations of Stage 5 symptoms. February, quadruple blank. Witnesses riding in a commuter train car and data expunged described a woman suddenly blowing up like a balloon and exploding, but instead of blood and viscera, the contents of the car were covered in spores and filaments. What? Analysis later showed that the victim was infected with 129.09, 129.14, and 129 double blank. All persons and objects in the affected area were quarantined, euthanized, and incinerated per protocol. Triple blank casualties, including double blank Foundation personnel. That's fucking awful. That sucks. May quadruple blank. Following a string of disappearances and data expunged, were tracked to a cave several kilometers from town. Inside, investigators found several pulsating mounds of flesh and vegetative material. Although most were unrecognizable, a few of the entities retained some human characteristics and were identified as some of the missing citizens. Researchers theorized that victims of this combination of 129 would interact normally with the populace, attempting to infect others until, after a period of time, they would come to the cave. How and why they were brought here is unknown. How and why they were brought here is not known. Upon arrival, the victims would be changed into the pulsating vegetative flesh mounds, which appear to be organisms modified to provide a long-term source of sustenance for 129. This is like a storage body sort of thing. Analysis suggests the flesh mounds could potentially live for triple blank years. Autopsy revealed the presence of 129.10, 129.11, 129.14, and 129 double blank. Site quarantined and sanitized per protocol. Double blank known casualties. Data expunged. Well, that's fucking weird. Just like blob people. This thing could take over the world and turn us all into blob people. It has a use for us. It doesn't just kill us. It turns us into blob people too. Biohazard contagion. Biohazard contagion. Fungus, Keither rewrite species transfiguration. I'm not really interested in virology that much, but that was pretty cool. It was interesting for sure. Alright. We reached 130. Alright. Item number 130, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. 130 is to be staffed by 12 D-Class, 6 security agents, level 2/130, and 1 researcher, level 3/130, twice per day, starting at 1/2 hour before local sunrise and sunset. All staff are to be appropriately uniformed, strike-through, and Caucasian only on strike-through. When not staffed, 2 security agents will remain in the lobby, and 2 additional agents will patrol within the building. Agents are advised not to prevent people from entering the lobby, but to notify MTF Alpha 4 Pony Express to intercept anyone who receives mail or a package. Twice per day bundles, SCP-132, Twice per day bundles, parentheses, SCP-130-2, will appear in the mailroom. The parcels within the bundles are to be sorted by uniformed staff into appropriate bags and placed in a designated vehicle for transport to Site Double Blank. Should mail arrive with the following address, redacted, follow procedure Franklin 16, detailed in Addendum 130-2. Otherwise, mail will be checked under standard practices for any items of interest. Objects are not to be placed for outgoing mail unless certified orders are given by 05 single blank. Procedure Franklin 17 outlines the protocol used in these cases. Should anyone else enter 130 to use the outgoing mail slot, they are to be permitted to do so, then intercepted by MTF Alpha 4 as soon as possible for questioning. The incident is to be reviewed through security tapes, and the outgoing mail watched for in subsequent bundles and checked through the list of previous parcels delivered. Methodical, I like it. Description 130 is a post office in blank, South Africa, constructed in 18 double blank. 130 had been closed in 19 double blank and left abandoned for double blank years. The building is in excellent condition for its age, and maintains itself without human intervention, including moderate structural repairs. 130 has been designated a historic site through an agreement with the South African government. 5 times per week at local sunrise and sunset, several bags and boxes will appear in the mailroom. The bundles designated 130-2 will show only on weekdays, with the exception of current postal holidays for blank blank. Bundles are to be handled as per special containment procedures as above. Inside of the lobby, along with the post office boxes, is a slot labeled for outgoing mail. The slot is able to accept packages up to 40 centimeters wide and 6 centimeters high, with no apparent limit for length. Once inserted into the slot, packages disappear and will eventually turn up in the outgoing mail bundles if they have not done so previously. Addendum 130-1. 130 came to the attention of the Foundation in 19 double blank when packages and letters began to be circulated bearing the postmark for the site. The parcels appeared in post offices throughout the world with correct postage for delivery either locally or internationally, depending on the parcel. The parcels were often undeliverable either to non-existent addresses or to recipients who were not at the address, and so ended up in dead letter offices. Various Foundation assets noted the odd postmark, and Mobile Task Force Alpha 4 mobilized to investigate. MTF Alpha 4 arrived in blank, where they discovered the town had mostly been abandoned decades ago. The post office appeared to be in excellent condition, not only well maintained, but clean. While MTF Alpha 4 searched, bundles of mail appeared in the mailroom. Agents searched the bundles and discovered a variety of letters, parcels, and packages, all with that day's date and the postmark for that post office. Agent Blank attempted to open one of the parcels, which resulted in the agent vanishing from sight. 6 days later, a package appeared in Site Double Blank's mailroom. Inside of it was Agent Blank and an envelope with a receipt for postage due. Agent Blank had returned to sender and postage due tattooed on blank back and was in a comatose state. Agent Blank remained in that state until the envelope was delivered to 130's outgoing mail slot, whereupon the agent returned to consciousness with no recollection from the time of disappearance. Similar results also occurred when agents tried to take away or damage either the parcels or the post office itself. Further investigation led to the current containment procedures where strike-through Caucasian, unstrike-through D-class personnel in blank uniforms circa 19 double blank sort through the mail when it appeared. Once processed and put in a marked blank vehicle, the mail can then leave the area unmolested. If the bundles are untouched, however, the bundles will vanish and later appear in the postal systems of the world in order to be delivered. Addendum 130-2. Through examination of the mail parcels over the past double blank years, research has shown certain trends. Over double blank % of the mail is of a mundane nature, except for the matter of the postmark. Exceptions to this are letters that were apparently unsent, for whatever reason, and temporally displaced letters. The former, while odd, will be destroyed in order to protect the nature of 130. The latter will be examined and results submitted to redacted. Letters addressed to Foundation sites or personnel are to be sent to Letters addressed to Foundation sites or personnel are to be sent to Site double blank, where they will be reviewed by Department blank. Reports shall be classified under Project blank, pending overseer review. Procedure Franklin 16. When mail specifically addressed to redacted, the mail is to be sealed in a case with active countermeasures and brought to the office of the present Level 5/130 supervisor. Mail will then be screened for possible explosive, chemical, biological, memetic, or redacted threats. After screening, the mail will be opened and assessed, while no new artifacts requiring secure containment have arrived. The possibility cannot be ignored. Mail either addressed to or intercepted by the office is often temporally sensitive, and as such impact must be minimized to limit changes. The possibility of the information being used to alter present-day events detrimentally must also be weighed. Using the information given by 130 to alter events requires a 2/3 supermajority vote by the overseers. So temporal mail. Examples of intercepted messages are stored within document 130-1 and require level 4/130 to access. So you must be in on the know with 130 and also have proper level. Cool. Yeah, methinks this is just a future Foundation thing. Old Foundation had to test it, and it's like stuff is sent back in time for them to vote on, I guess. Mail with the following code phrase, redacted, are to be immediately delivered after screening, without being read by 5/130. After so doing, that code phrase is to be invalidated and the next one brought in line. Procedure Franklin 17. All outgoing mail is to be sent with appropriate current postage for blank at the time of sending, and must be checked with the code phrase, redacted. The mail sent by this method is to be logged, then cross-checked with past parcels to ensure temporal integrity. Upon attempt at mailing, should a receipt appear for postage due, the amount shall be placed in an envelope and put in the outgoing mail slot. The slot will accept the following currencies: rands, euros, and blank. The use of counterfeit currencies will result in a lethal action by 130, and an additional fine will be levied until mail can be sent again. Future Foundation a little too hardcore, huh? Addendum 130-3. After the end of apartheid, 130 no longer restricts postal staff to be white only. That's so fucking weird. Incident 130-6 on double blank, single blank, 19 double blank. A package for one blank arrived with the address for a post office box at the site. Dr. Blank, the researcher assigned to 130, placed the parcel into the POB and waited. Post office box. Blank minutes later, an unknown person identified as blank walked into the lobby. The subject appeared to be briefly puzzled and walked over to the box. The locked box opened at his touch, and he expressed surprise at seeing the parcel with his name on it. MTF Alpha 4, being on site, was dispatched to investigate once the subject was out of sight of 130 and subsequently interviewed. The subject had no plans to visit Blank that day, but had felt an unexplained desire to go there while driving nearby to visit family in the area. Upon opening the package, redacted, a Class A amnestic was administered to the subject and was released after memory insertion. Okay? It's like a fucking Time Lord hiding as a human, and the thing they picked up was like a, you know, Time Lord stopwatch or whatever. Time Lord's pocket watch. Building document ectoentropic Euclid. This also links to 130-1. Let's see what this is really quick. Oh, it's small as fuck. Let's read this. Document 130-1. Executive Summary of Instances 132. Fuck. Executive Summary of Instances 130-2. To this date, there have been blank instances of 130-2. That's looking like a quintuple blank. Yeah, five blank spaces. To this date, there have been quintuple blank instances of 130-2 that fall under Procedure Franklin 16, and with certain exceptions, all have been reviewed by this office. Below are brief summaries of sampled parcels addressed to persons of note both within and outside of the Foundation. Dr. M blank blank E blank 5/130. Format: addressee blank, summary blank, notes blank. Yo, Alto Clef. This is a deep Foundation reference here. Addressee: Dr. Alto Clef. Summary: to this date, Dr. Clef has had quadruple blank parcels addressed to him in a variety of fashions, up to using valid code phrases per Procedure Franklin 16. In each and every case, these parcels have contained a wide variety of means to assassinate the good doctor, tied with either gloating, terse judgments, or even apologies. What the fuck? Notes: after double blank deaths and 7 figures worth of damage to Foundation material. That's a blank, by the way, 7 septuple blank, with a $sign leading the front. So yeah, 7 figures worth of damage to Foundation material. All missives addressed to Dr. Clef are to be thoroughly scanned and opened by a remote under Hazmat 3 conditions, as per 05 single blank's orders. Due to the incident at single blank, double blank, 20 double blank, only D-Class personnel should handle the mail and be within 50 meters until disposed of. Addressee: Dr. Agatha Wrights. Summary: Dr. Wrights has had a variety of greeting cards sent to her, denoting such things as birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays such as Mother's Day from blank, blank blank, and blank blank. Notes: due to redacted, all such parcels are to be incinerated, and under no circumstances are they to be mentioned to Dr. Wrights. Addressee: Dr. King. Summary: each Arbor Day for the past double blank years, a variety of apple-based products have been mailed to Dr. King, including seeds, cider, and brandy. Every September 26th, a biography of John Chapman, aka Johnny Appleseed, has appeared. Notes: Christ, what did this guy do to 130? I don't even think he's been to South Africa. 5/130. Collaboration Experiment Supplement. Alright, well that's our sequential read-through tonight. That's also our random SCP read-through tonight. Let's go ahead and read the titles of what we read through. So, 121, Concrete Cradle, No More Monsters, Contained Miniature Black Hole. What did I say? What did I fucking say? Fertile Soil, Contagious Reflection, Invisible Friend, The Living Gun, Kinetic Energy Entity, Progressive Fungal Infection, and Post Office. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. I certainly had a blast, and this is actually like a straight up 2-hour segment, which it usually goes like 3 to 4 hours some nights. We hit the time quotient on this one really nice. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was fun for you. And yeah, I enjoyed. So I want to thank you very much for watching. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and include the social media links in the Discord. I'm going to go ahead and include the social media links in the Twitch chat. If you can't see Twitch chat, you can click the About section on Twitch or on YouTube. And yeah, go follow the Twitch channel. Go subscribe to the Main Edited Videos YouTube channel. Go follow the Twitter. Go subscribe to the VOD Archive YouTube channel. Come join the Discord. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. That's gonna do it for me tonight, homies. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.